G'day, Steeler Nation. Welcome back to the Steel Curtain Network and also welcome back to Steelers Nation Australia. Well, Steeler Nation, I guess that's it. Aaron Rodgers threw a pick. This season is over. If you have been following this podcast and this podcast in general, not just my channel on Steel Nation Oz, but this podcast on Steel Curtain Network, as you know from the very beginning, I have not been a fan of the Aaron Rodgers move. However, day by day, I'm slowly turning into a fan of the move, and it's the right move for the club and the organization, and it's the right move in the right direction. Now, there was a lot of backlash on Aaron Rodgers because actually there's two types of backlash because Aaron Rodgers had thrown his very first pick day one, and I'm trying to summarize training camp. You know what's funny about training camp? We're so excited for training camp to begin. Then when it does, it feels like everything goes into one day into the next. And also from being from Australia, and G'day Steelers Nation from Australia, it's super hard to keep up. I don't know whether they're on day 3, day 4, if they're having a break tomorrow, when's the next day, when they're hitting in pads. I hear it's meant to be Tuesday in USA, which is my Wednesday. So please, out there in Steeler Nation, cut me a little bit of slack because sometimes it all mixes into one. But there was one story out there that I heard about, and that was Aaron Rodgers throwing his very first pass in Steelers uniform at training camp, and it was picked off by Patrick Queen. Now, a quick side story. What a great play. What a great play by Patrick Queen. Yet the media will try and frame things as Aaron Rodgers is washed. Now, I would be the very first guy to tell you 24 episodes ago that I was not keen for A-Rod to play for the Pittsburgh Steelers. I wasn't keen for this style of football that he had maybe throwing, which is interceptions and fumbles and sacks and things like that, right? But I do think that this story or the perception of how it's been told with A-Rod is kind of ludicrous. It's training camp. And stats don't matter. All that matters is about going out there, getting reps, trying to be better than what you were the other day, getting back to football, even if it's football in shorts or football wearing a helmet or whatever it may be. The stats don't matter. And early on in camp, it does seem to have the perception is, or the idea is the defense has a better chance because they can, they're more amped up at the very beginning, and it takes the offense a bit longer to click and start getting their reps and getting in front and getting TDs. But there's so many training camps, there's so many days of practice, and Mike Tomlin's got these guys running around the heat. It's around, 90 degrees Fahrenheit, which is my 32 degrees Celsius. And yes, someone has to win. In this case, it was the Patrick Queen interception where he won, yet the media went after Rodgers and said, is he washed? He went 1-3 to DK Metcalf. Is he going to be QB1? There was a lot of, I guess, not hate, but just questioning around him being QB1. And day by day, I've been trying to tell myself that it is a good option for him to be QB1, and it's best for the offense, for him to work with Darnell and to him to work with Jonas Smith. It's really exciting. Frymouth and DK Metcalf, and also now that Rodgers and DK Metcalf are roommates, it's a really good positive thing, But this one story around Rodgers throwing the interception just took all the headlines. And I think it was one of the reporters out there from ESPN, or might have been Brooke Pryor, and she asked Rodgers and said, not a bad omen, but I think she was implying that way. Brooke Pryor said, what's the omen? What's this? The omen behind this? What does it mean? What does it mean when you throw the first pick? Is there something behind this? And Rodgers reportedly and said, well, it's good to get that one out of the way. Rodgers said his first throw being intercepted today was a few days ago. I'm going to throw picks, but I'm going to throw some touchdowns too. It's just funny how, there might have been boos in the crowd and then the Queen intercepted him. Just funny how the media seemed to jump from story to story. It was, will TJ Watt be traded, to now, oh my goodness, Aaron Rodgers throws a pick, maybe he's washed up. But like I said, I would be the first to tell you that I thought that was going to be the case, but now I'm slowly moving around. So with training camp, happening right now, I've been very busy over the weekend. I just got back from Sydney, went down to Sydney to see one of your comedians over there in America, Mark Normand. He's in the group with like Shane Gillis. He's very on the edge of his comedy. I like it. It was cool. It was fun. It was a good time. There's a lot of stuff that he said I can't repeat online on this channel, but it was super fun to be in another show down in Sydney having a few brewskis around Darling Harbour. If any international fans out there or fans from America have not been to Australia, that's one of your best bets to go. Darling Harbour, Circular Quay in Sydney. Go see a show. Go see the lights. Head to the casino. Have a few drinks and have some good food, some good seafood. On the last morning there too, I had a great breakfast, big breakfast with eggs, potatoes, all that kind of stuff. Right. Had some pancakes down there. It was super fun. So I've been really busy during the training camp, but I'm trying to catch up by watching highlights. But that was one of the first things I wanted to talk about. It's not really that bad for Aaron Rodgers to throw that pick, because then a few days later, he was linking up with DK Metcalf. He was finding open targets with Darnell Washington and throwing the ball to Kenny G and working with the team out there and getting the offense back to rhythm. And also, to be honest, it's July. We forget sometimes that these guys can make mistakes, and it's July. And like the stats, it doesn't matter. You'll see someone out there trying. I was looking through Twitter, and as I look through Twitter, all I see is different reporters saying this person, that person put his hand up, tipped a ball. I saw one really ludicrous statement, which I found really funny, and that was from, I think it was who's the bloke out there? Another guy, Alex Kozora from Steelers Depot. He said, outside linebacker DeMarvin Leal just went up the hill towards the team facility. Looks like the heat's getting to him. Just threw up. What a day and age, right? With social media and how much content, how much access we have for our team. Think about this like 20 years ago. 20 years ago, Twitter didn't exist. So you couldn't get daily updates of our team. But what a day and age where Alex is alright. Nothing against him. I just find the tweet really funny because he's letting us know that the guy's obviously, a bit hot. Maybe the heat, it's hot out there, 32 degrees. Maybe they haven't, not just quite conditioned just yet to play in the heat. And at the same time, they're training in the heat, but yet getting ready for a competition, an NFL league that plays into, your autumn and winter. So from that perspective, I guess it makes sense to be uncomfortable. Mike Tomlin wants these guys to be uncomfortable and to win in every setting. If it's raining or sometimes when it's thunder, they'll cancel it. But to win in any setting where if it's hot, cold, or whatever it may be, you got to show up. I just think it's funny that people reporting out there every single little detail. It doesn't matter. They're like, oh, this guy fell over. And by the way, we are going to talk about the missed snaps very, very soon. This guy fell over. Number 54, tripped over this one. This player, his block was off like that. We are so conditionalized right now to jump into every single mini storyline around training camp. But I tell you what, I'm a person, and with this channel on Steel Nation Oz, and also Steel Curtain Network on this brand on the audio platform, my perspective, and if you guys are listening, thank you out there, right? If you're driving your car or you're making a barbecue, I don't know, right? My perspective is really funny. I'm like out there, the journalists do all their job and they report to Twitter. I read Twitter, and then I give you my take on what they said about what they saw. Because I can't see what they saw in person. Maybe one year I'll get there. Maybe one year in 2027, because I can't go next year with the draft. But maybe 2027 or 2028, I will rock up to Latrobe and I can put the camera out and I write down notes and give you my perception of being there in real time, right? But I find these little mini updates, they're informative, yes. This person threw that. If TJ Watt was one more step away, that would have been a real sack. These things are telling for our team to get ready for a preseason football, but it's not September yet. it's exciting, very exciting to see our team to wear black and gold, to go out there. Fans are coming from, I saw a poster, the fan was coming from Thailand. All the kids out there having birthdays, and, DK Metcalf and all the guys are signing autographs. And it's super, super exciting. You got Pat McAfee's coming to Latrobe next week. Fans are going out there. It's a great time. But when you go back to those mini comments, like Alex Kazura said, outside linebacker, DeMarvin Leal went up the hill, team facility, looks like the heat's getting to him. He just threw up. Do we need to know that? Do we actually need to know that he threw up? Are we going to make, the second point is, are we now going to make a comment on DeMarvin Leal because he threw up? Is it that necessary that we need to know that much information? But we are in the day and age of social media where a bloke from Australia can report on what he's seeing to you guys and then get your thoughts about, Steelers camp and all that kind of stuff. So those are the quick two things I want to talk about in the first part of the episode. We're going to go to a break very shortly, but the one big thing was, Aaron Rodgers. I'm turning day by day. I'm becoming a better fan than I was to support him. I think it's going to work out with Jonas Smith. I think it's going to work out with DK Metcalf. I think it's going to work out with the check down passes to Johnson. He showed some really good speed too, but I understand they're not wearing pads either. But I wanted to stress, just because he throws his first pick, it doesn't mean it's over. It's training camp. And all the media went one way. The media said, oh my goodness, Rodgers threw this. He's done. He's over. He's washed. How come the media didn't go the other way and didn't go, well, Patrick Queen made a great break on the ball. I saw it, by the way. A great break on the ball. And he picked off A-Rod and the defense looks awesome. Either way you see it. If offense wins, then the defense looks bad. If the defense wins, then the offense looks bad. At the same time, we're on the exact same team. And that's why you can just only take this with a grain of salt. I don't think the stats overly matter too much. If it's passing, 4 for 4, I think Mason Rudolph went 4 for 4. If it's this guy would have had a tackle or would have had a sack, I'm just looking into more what Coach Tomlin is saying, or what the offensive coordinator is saying, or the players in their interviews, how confident they are in certain situations. I do try and watch a bit of tape here and there with the highlights, but it's pretty much the same thing every year. It really is the same thing every year. Doing the mini drills, running through the pads of the ball, catching drills, all that kind of stuff. It's football. Football's back, but it is fun. But I do find from a stat standpoint, and maybe we're given way too much knowledge. Do we really need to know about DeMarvin Leal? Do we really need to hype up and care that Rodgers threw his first interception? We all know when it comes to Steelers versus Jets, it's going to be Aaron Rodgers, QB number 1. If we like it or don't like it, he's going to be QB number 1. Alrighty, Steel Nations, let's go to a break. Let's go to a break here on Steel Curtain Network, and also a break here on Steelers Nation Australia. If you also want to check me out too on YouTube, just type in Steelers Nation Australia into YouTube, and you'll see my channel here with about 3,000 something subs. I'm trying to do as much content as I can, and I'm trying to keep you guys entertained while in training camp, because I can't see for first person. I'm going off what other journalists and other podcasters here at Steel Curtain Network do shows about, and we're talking about this, talking about that. But that's why it's so much fun. That's why Steel Nation is a lot of fun, and I have a lot of respect for the Steelers community online. It's maybe, except no, I take that back. I have a lot of respect for the Steelers Nation community online. However, Facebook, oh boy, Facebook, you need to pick your game up. Some of those comments in there, some of the Facebook Steeler fans, I'm like, are you even real people? I don't even believe that you're a real person or a real Steeler fan. We sign someone, we sign Chuck Clark, or we do safety, or Rodgers does throw a pick, or in the second half, I'm going to talk about those snaps from Zach Frazier. And it already feels like in the Facebook comments, they want to trade away Zach Frazier, or they need to bench him, right? I think some of those Facebook comments are crazy. I feel like the internet is made up with a lot of trolls. The internet's made up with a lot of, maybe AI bad actors. I feel like the Facebook land, there has to be like comments in there that are bots, that if an article comes out, those comments are meant to write something bad, so then another real person gets upset and then writes to them. I think Facebook Steelers fans, are some of the worst online. Anyway, Steeler Nation, let's go to a bit of a break on Steel Curtain Network and also a break on Steelers Nation Australia. Steel Nation, we are back. We are back. Welcome to the Steel Curtain Network and also welcome back to Steelers Nation Australia. If you are new around this channel and also around Steel Curtain Network, my name is Mark. I'm from Australia, so I try my best to talk Steelers football. But the hard part, to be very honest, the hard part is the timing. When I record things, it's your nighttime. You guys are asleep. Then when I go to sleep, I wake up and I'm like, hang on a minute, we signed Chuck Clark. I had no idea. I was away at a comedy show to see Mark Normand, also to see the Book of Mormon 2 theater show. Over the weekend, I had no idea before I left that they signed another safety, Chuck Clark. So I'm going to do some more, I would like to do some more research, and, I wish him luck into the team. I think he's about a 30-year-old safety, played for the Ravens too. I feel like the Steelers are just going out and signing every single Raven that ever played for their organization. Got Harrison, Queen, Elliott. You've got also the new bloke, Chuck Clark, who's a safety. So I wouldn't mind going back and look through that. But yeah, sometimes it's very tough for me to, I guess, find out some information or like try and keep up. Because if I miss a day and I'm at work or something like that, then I feel like training camp was day 1, day 2. I'm like, well, what happened next? So it's day 4, right? But there is something I want to talk about on this side of the podcast, the second half, right? In the first half, we talked about A-Ron, the interception. Let's move on. We all know he's going to be QB1. We know Mason Rudolph's going to be QB2, and that will figure it out. And I think that, as preseason football comes to, they're going to get ready to make Rodgers QB1. Regardless if you throw that pick, it doesn't matter. Here's something else that doesn't matter, right? And you guys can put in the comments if you think it's different. But I was reading stories out there, news articles, and I was watching things on Twitter. And apparently Zach Frazier, our center, was benched. That's right. A pause. Zach Frazier was benched. Some of these clickbait articles I cannot stand. Because I don't think he was benched. He may have, maybe accidentally or badly snapped a football once or twice, and then from that point the coaches were like, you know what, just sit out a bit, bro. But it's not in the same atmosphere of him getting benched or pushed back to center number 2. If you believe those kind of articles where Zach Frazier was benched and he's fighting for his job, I hate to tell it to you, but you're missing out. I don't think you understand football. And I don't mean to insult anyone's football intelligence or knowledge, but I see these, because I get it all the time. I get it all the time. All the time. I get, well, you're from Australia. You don't understand football. Well, I'm from Australia who wakes up at 3 a.m. to watch football. I'm from Australia who's going to Dublin, who's going to travel 26 hours to go to Dublin. I'm from Australia who's going to go halfway around the world to watch my team play, and I don't even have tickets to the game. So yeah, I don't understand football. But there are some people out there, if you believe I can't swear in this program, if you believe the hogwash that some of these journalists are making up, which is Zach Frazier was benched and there's a real problem. There's a real massive problem and wild times and big news, insert this, whatever. Absolute garbage that is out there. It's comical. It's absolutely comical. That they're saying that Zach Frazier should be benched. Zach Frazier is a problem. Zach Frazier from Western Virginia, our center, who played fantastic last year. There's a problem at center, and the Steelers have really bad offensive problems. Can they fix it? Yeah, man. Just like Bob the Builder, they can. It's July. It's a 28th. I don't know if you guys have. Do you guys have Bob the Builder over there in the States? We definitely have Bob the Builder. Can he fix it? Yes, he can. Now, it is like almost August, right? Just because he's thrown a few snaps to the ground, it doesn't mean he's going to be benched. And this is the kind of media that I can't stand, but I'm also so thankful that I can voice my opinion on Steel Curtain Network, also on Steelers Nation Australia, on the show called G'day Steelers Nation, where something like this happens, and Zach Frazier is now getting thrown to the wolves because he made a few errors at that position. And maybe the coaches were saying, well, actually, he made a few errors. Get him out of there, Zach. We'll put someone else in for a few reps. Give him a rest. There's absolutely, in my opinion, nothing to this. Nothing at all. Mistakes happen. That's why we have erasers on pencils. Mistakes happen. That's why you can always try and get better. I know in my life, in work and in YouTube and podcasting, in my social life, I'm always trying to get better. Even when I make mistakes, I'm trying to get better. It doesn't mean that I'm going to get sacked from my job because I made a mistake. It's like, no, it's okay. But the way these reporters will write these things is they try and turn a story around saying this is one massive issue. It's a huge issue. The Steelers have offensive problems. They can't snap the ball, and it's hitting the dirt, and this needs to be fixed right away. This is all part of training camp. Steeler Nation out there, it's all part of training camp. There's no way they're going to bench Zach Frazier, our center. There's no way this actually means anything. All it means is that there could be a slight little problem with the center exchange, or, Zach needs to do better. Got to work on his craft a bit more, but they're not going to fire him, sack him, trade him, or, demote him to number 2. He's going to be your Steelers center starter at the very beginning of the year. It's just going to happen. So I find this stuff really comical when there's no news. There's no news for a very long time. For a very long time, there's no news, and we're so keen for Steelers football. And the moment we are so keen for Steelers football, we kind of like overanalyze. Like in my first part of the episode, in the first half, I was talking about Aaron Rodgers and stats don't matter. I think we overanalyze as a fan. And you know what? And also, I wrote on Twitter the other day. Doesn't matter when life gives you lemons, or whatever it may be. You're going through some tough times, this, and this. It's just time to be a supporter, to be a fan. No matter what, go Steelers. When life throws you lemons, go Steelers. More than ever, I'm going to cheer the Steelers on. Here we go, Steelers. Time to support your team. Here we go. Now, you can be critical if you want to. If you really want to talk about the bad snap and be critical of Zach Frazier, when it's probably just something really little that doesn't mean too much, fine. You can go down that road. If you want to be critical of Mike Tomlin in July and you're not too happy with him, fine. That's okay. I'm kind of done with that stuff. But right now, for me, it's about being optimistic around our team and figuring out and watching the team develop as a unit and getting ready for preseason, getting ready for September and versus the Jets. Right? I even heard there was I think Justin Fields had an injury with the Jets, so there could be a new starting quarterback for the Jets. Jets, Jets, as Aaron Rodgers gets ready for his revenge game week 1. I don't take these things too seriously in camp. If you'll see this person dropped a pass, or this receiver ran the wrong route. I wish I could swear right now, but I just can't do it on this platform. I've promised Bad and the other podcaster fellas out there that I would never swear on Steelers Curtain Network. I don't have to get my point across. At the same time, though, it doesn't matter. If that receiver runs a bit of a wrong route, if he goes down the field and drops a pass, that's why it's training camp. That's why training camp, you're getting better each day. The Steelers are out there in the Trobe. They're sharing dorms together. Aaron Rodgers and DK Metcalf are sharing. They're trying to build that brotherhood of steel. And this is why Mike Tomlin goes plus wins, or never had a non-losing season every year, because he always has this team ready from day dot. Now, has it finished the right way in the past 8 years or whatever it may be? No, it hasn't. But at the same time, this team is going to be ready to play Steelers football. And I'm ready to watch it. I'm ready to watch the Steelers get the RB ready, to get the receivers ready, and all that kind of stuff. And I don't play into too much with Zach Frazier hitting the ball with the dirt on the shotgun snap. I believe he can figure it out. It's just sometimes Steeler Nation out there, as you guys know this, and we're all connected to Facebook and Twitter and YouTube and on audio platforms like Steel Curtain Network, we are so consumed with everything. I think we just overanalyze a lot of stuff to do with the preparation and, what happened in training camp. But I'm keen, though. I'm keen for like backs on backers. I like to see, after training camp, that Mike Tomlin gets asked questions around like schematics. what's going to happen in certain, defensive packages with, are they going to use Jalen Ramsey and Porter and Slay all on the field at the same time? Mike Tomlin pretty much confirmed that. I'm keen for those kinds of things where the Steelers are showing you stuff and they're showing TJ Watt run around on different sides of the defensive line. I like that kind of stuff, and where they're starting to implement those ideas and strategy into the preseason games and overall season. That's fun. But I think to judge and say bench Zach Frazier because he missed 2 or 3 passes, or to judge, even though Rodgers, I wasn't a fan, and say Rodgers is washed because one pass was his first interception, I think it's crazy. I think it's overall, it's crazy, and Steel Nation needs to come back a step and just start supporting your team. And if you want to, you can go out there and look on YouTube and follow, guys with X's and O's, and it can break down every single pass. But I'm just happy the team is playing in Latrobe. They're playing in summer. They're getting ready. Mike Tomlin's getting the team ready. They're getting ready for week 1 preseason, where we get to see some football and some training camp battles. It's good to see blokes like Holcomb back, and Cameron Johnston back from injury. Roman Wilson back from injury. Also Troy Faatanu. I heard him talk about Steelers football, and he's super excited. Those are the storylines that I want to follow, that I'm trying to follow, that we amp up into preseason football and football that goes into, or starting in September. I'm not too worried about these storylines that Rodgers did this bad thing, or this center, he snapped the ball wrong, or this potential cornerback was out of alignment for 1 snap. Not worried about that. Training camp is where the teams are trying to improve. And that's why they're there. They're trying to get better. They're trying to learn from each other. You've now got Cameron Haywood and Derek Harmon and Y.A. Black learning from probably one of the best defensive players for the Steelers in a very long time. Cameron Haywood, future Hall of Famer. He should hopefully be there. There's TJ Watt, giving out tips to Jack Sawyer in that rotation of outside linebacker. There's Mason Rudolph and Rodgers, giving tips, and the veteran presence helping out Will Howard, and that's really exciting to watch. And people are out there worried and writing stories about, almost did it then, worried about Zach Frazier, what the French toast, worried about Frazier throwing a ball into the ground. Anyway, Steelers Nation, we'll end it there. Thank you very much for listening to Steelers Nation Australia on YouTube, and also listening to on the audio platform, which is Steel Curtain Network. And g'day, Steelers Nation. See you guys later. Have a good rest of your day and rest of your week, and hope you guys enjoy training camp. If you are going at training camp, it should be a good, fun time. I hopefully get there. I've never been, so I'll hopefully try and get there in 2027, maybe 2028. My Steelers stuff this year is Steelers in 2025 is going to Dublin, Ireland, and going around Europe. In 2026 from Australia, I'll be going to the Steelers Pittsburgh draft. In 2027, I don't know where I'm going for the Steelers, but it could be a game, could be a training camp situation. It could be something, but I guess I'm not a huge fan. I'm not the biggest. I don't know how to follow football. No, I definitely do. I've been following football for 23 years now. 23 years following the greatest club or greatest organization in the world, that is Steelers football, black and gold Steelers. Alrighty, Steelers Nation. I'll see you guys next time.